Hello, welcome to this week's edition of the Hockey House. You may know us from the popular hockey news website, thehockeyhouse.net. I'm Steve Ellis.
Howdy, I'm Brendan Saunders.
Let's get ready to talk hockey. Now, Brendan, you know
Yes.
if we've been bringing guests on the shows.
We do?
Yeah, and
Okay.
usually we've been bringing people that have been pretty close to us, like
True.
geography.
Saskatchewan, Vancouver, Russia.
Yeah, this time we actually have a guy who came all the way from outside of Ottawa or close to Ottawa?
From Ottawa.
Ottawa, okay.
Oh, okay, nice.
Ottawa East.
Ottawa East, want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, first of all, thank you guys for having me and coming on.
Doing.
I'm a big fan of the show.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Peter Miliotis. I'm a social media, digital media marketing guy. Like I said, who lives in Ottawa, Ontario. Currently, I do the social media for the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and I'm also a NHL contributor for SportsIllustrated.com. And I did my master's in communication studies at Carleton University, where my master's research essay was on social media and the LA Kings and the National Hockey League and how their social media was really effective and related back to NHL fan engagement and brand equity. And I currently have my own podcast that I do called Popternative, which is a social media, sports, and pop culture podcast that I do every week.
So that's actually been a podcast I've noticed for a while. Like a lot of people are talking about it. It's popular. You get really good guests on there. So what made you want to do something like a mixture of pop culture and sports in the same topic?
So actually, before I got into, I've always been a hockey fan, sports fan in general, but specifically hockey's been my wheelhouse. I played all my life. What I really wanted to do was I started in music. I was a concert promoter for many years, and what I realized is social media and digital media became a big part of the pop culture sphere, but also the sports sphere, right? And over the years, doing my masters and the social media for the QMJHL and working with other brands, I've networked with a lot of people. So I've wanted to do a podcast for a while where I could have people that I've networked with from the past and have digital dialogues and talk about social media, sports, and pop culture, and use it as an insightful tool for students who are interested in the field that can learn and get introduced to these people who are, in my words, the unsung heroes. I like to put a lot of people who run the social media for big sports brands. So we've had the social media people for the Edmonton Oilers was on, Chris Lund from the Toronto Maple Leafs was on, and then we had Nate Rauschenberg, who does the social media for Seattle Mariners and the MLB. So I wanted to introduce these people who work really, really hard, and in my words, are like the unsung heroes, and showcase them a bit and give them exposure.
It's very interesting because a lot of the social media people are just geniuses when it comes to some of the things.
Fantastic.
Like I love Columbus's, for example.
Yeah, Rob Mixer.
Yep, good one.
Should be on the show very soon.
Yep, he's very good. I didn't actually know that he ran that one for a while though, but
it's him and Andrew.
Yeah,
they're
but,
two.
Also, I know the Marlies one does it very good, but they kind of they let the fans tell the story.
Yeah.
And they kind of just share their
Absolutely.
their points. I think that's great. But what got you into just the love of social media? Because that's like I know Brendan actually is. Do you even have any social media accounts?
Well, I have a cat who emails birds letters that I sent from Jamaica 5 years ago.
So not really.
Okay.
So yeah, what got you into
future.
social media?
So like I said, I started as a concert promoter, and I started booking shows when I was about 16, 17 years old. And at the time, print ads and radio ads were pretty expensive for me at the time. So posting Facebook events and capitalizing on social media's effective use as a cost-effective marketing tool was pretty ideal and amazing for me at the time. So I realized that it was a really cool tool and effective to get the message out, and I really loved it. And I also loved, the dissemination of all kinds of cool stuff, GIFs, memes, YouTube videos. And there's a lot of fun stuff out there, and I love, leveraging like when sports teams leverage pop culture, and which is what Popternative is all about. The intro, topical discussions in the world of social media, sports, and pop culture. We want to talk about it all. We want to have cross promotions and intersections with all three fields. So that's what got me into it. I love how creative and fun it can get, and we're seeing a lot of sports teams like the Los Angeles Kings capitalizing on that.
Yeah, that's good. Like I'm a big racing fan. Unfortunately, we don't see a lot of great social media accounts there. But one thing, I don't know. Do you follow IndyCar by chance?
A little, not too much.
One thing that they make or I don't know if they make the drivers do it, but every IndyCar driver has a Twitter account. That's great for fan engagement. That's and cool. You like looking at the brands too. So anyways, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to talk a bit more about social media and sports. And then after that, we're going to talk some NHL. Welcome back to the Hockey House on RogersTV. Now, Brendan, I also believe you have a question here for Peter.
Okay, so Pete,
Yeah.
not Parker, because then you'd be Spider-Man. One day, in the near future or near past, is social media going to literally just gasoline fire, boom, blow up?
Well, only time will tell, of course.
Okay, nice.
You know, there was a lot of action on social media, on Twitter specifically, with the Super Bowl last night. That was pretty crazy.
That's a fun one to follow on Twitter.
Yeah, but it's funny you mentioned, Brendan, the blow up, because I remember when Lord Connor McDavid got injured, a couple of months back. I remember, it was pandemonium on social media, and I actually tweeted out a photo. I basically tweeted out the internet when they found out Connor McDavid got injured, and it was just like a photo of an explosion. And, it literally blew up. There were many retweets. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah. It's, social media is huge for sports. And I remember, personally, one of the biggest days I had was during the day Locomotive plane crash a couple years ago. I remember tweeting out some stuff, and I remember getting some information about, I believe one of the parents of one of the players ended up actually getting in a car crash shortly after. And I remember that was a huge day for, like, everyone on Twitter. So we see, like, social media, again, it's huge. You mentioned that already. There's a lot of positives, but do you also see a lot of negatives kind of in social media?
Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of negatives. And I think the issue about that is, there are a lot of people that have access to it. I think the access is a big issue. So, and a lot of people can hide behind Twitter accounts. And, there's a term for these people called trolls. Not sure if you've heard of them.
Like the dolls from the 90s? Like they had big hair, big noses, they kind of have...
Yes,
That's what I'd expect they would look like.
Yes, the trolls, but transformed into...
Brats?
A virtual version.
Pokemon?
It's a virtual version of a troll.
They're all just like Machops and...
They're like Pokemon, they evolve into the next thing?
Yeah, they're like... So picture that, but like really mean Pokemon that are online.
Fused with
pretending to be like Twitter accounts.
But they still make $20 million a year on movies that Kim Possible's mom
No,
was
they
in?
don't. They don't make any money.
What, they don't?
And they get mad at many people on the internet.
Yeah, and then they start a lot of arguments.
Oh, yeah.
It's... I don't know about you. I've actually received death threats on Twitter, and it's kind of scary at some points. But I think the one thing I love about social media is that anyone can be heard. Like you say that is a negative thing. Same time, it's
no, it's a good thing as well.
Like I've got into contact with guys who play hockey in Greece. I got in contact with people who play hockey in Morocco. It's like the countries you don't really expect.
Have you heard of Hockey Tutorial? Have you heard of those guys?
Yes.
Yeah, they're from England.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we have one guy that I know. Adam Sherlock, he actually runs Team India. And he basically, through social media, he helped get a lot of people from all over Brampton to go play for Team India against the Brampton Beasts. I ended up going to that game. That was pretty cool.
Really?
Did they win?
No. I won't answer that question for you because it was kind of a strange game. But anyways, like social media is so big and there's a lot of negatives. Now, if you were to give some tips to maybe somebody who wants to be known in social media, like we see guys like, let's say, Steve Dangle kind of blowing up through social media.
Yeah.
What would you tell young kids, I guess?
Well, a couple things. You got to make sure the content is good. You got to make sure Steve Dangle is like unbelievable, and he's on my list of the top 5 people that I really want on the podcast. So, Steve Dangle, I want you all alternative. Remember that.
You may watch the show, so
yeah, so hopefully. No, but you got to have really good content. It has to be fun, engaging, and I think networking and keeping in touch with people as much as possible is really important. So starting direct messages with people and that have similar interests on social media. I use a tool called Follow Fridays, which I do all the time. I put you in them many times. And what I like to do is I'll put like 5 or 6 people follow Fridays. I do 4 or 5 of them, and I put similar people that have similar interests and work in the similar fields. And my hope is that they look at them and they follow each other from that, and they connect and they extend their network. So, and I think also tips as well too is be nice. Like, be nice on social media. I think there's a lot of negativity on it right now, and it's like you said, it's very sensitive as well. And Brendan, it will blow up.
Boom.
Oh my God! Like boom, a cat?
Like kaboom.
I love it when you say that.
You know what? We're actually going to have to end that discussion, unfortunately, right now. When we come back, we're going to talk a bit about, I want to say, some guys that are pretty good in the NHL right now, including some guy named Sidney Crosby. We'll see you soon.
Who?
Hello, and welcome back to the Hockey House. Hey, Brendan.
Hey, Steve. Who
Look
is
over there.
it? What? Oh my God!
Look at our new jersey of the thread of the
thank you.
week.
It's Team China.
This is my Atlanta Thrashers game-used threads
Oh, there
from
you go.
Andre DeVoe. So I unfortunately can't verify the story, but what I've been told is it's the only jersey he ever wore playing for the team. He got into a fight in a preseason game. If you guys don't remember him, he actually played for the Leafs, and I believe he got banned from playing hockey in Sweden. Yeah, the only version of that in existence because he played one preseason game.
And you can buy it now for $9.99, including a slap shop
You
in
can
my
give me the money for fun. But anyways, Brendan, I know you wanted to talk about a couple guys that have been really good in the NHL.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
who's impressed you recently?
Well, my God. I literally don't check these stats a lot. I sometimes check them, but when Sidney Crosby started going kind of crappy, I always checked his games. I was like, oh, just Crosby get this. I was never a huge fan of Crosby, but I've noticed this last year when he was down and he started heating up. I'm like, come on, baby, let's go. And he's just like lit a fire under his arse. He's like this, my Nova Scotian pudding has dried off from the summer, and I'm ready to hit some oranges in my toes. And my God, 49 points in 50 games. He's still a minus, but he might be a +1 now. But man, he's as hot as a firecracker. He is hotter than Patrick Kane right now. 8 points in 3 games.
And I like plus minus. Does that mean all of a sudden make a guy good if he's +1?
It will. You know, Zach Senyshyn right now, when he was a minus, I was like this, my God, he's a terrible first-round pick. Now that he's +1, I want him to not be drafted by Boston and go first overall 2 years ago.
Okay. Now, who's impressed you?
Well, you know, on Chicago Blackhawks, Artemi Panarin has been spectacular.
He and Kane together, wow.
Even though he stole my number, 72.
You change your number every 5 minutes, so.
He stole it. So, yeah, I can't respect him for that.
And someone else who, you know, is not like right away, like he's not like a superstar yet, but someone who's really been impressing me is on the Boston Bruins, Ryan Spooner, I think is playing really well. He's got about 38 points so far.
Yep.
And I think, you know, this is a guy who, was in Providence playing in the AHL, you know, going back and forth, you know, but now he's, you know, playing a really good role with the Bruins, and I think he's doing really well. And, you know, the Ghost, you know, Philadelphia, Shane Gostisbehere, you know, you got to talk about him. He's putting up killer numbers, and I know guys from TSN like Bob McKenzie are really ecstatic that he's putting up those numbers because they loved him from the get-go.
Yeah,
looking at him in
one guy
college.
I've actually been a big fan of because I am a huge international hockey fan. So I've always wanted this guy to do really well. Is Leo Komarov, and he's basically the Estonian, Russian, Finnish rocket guy.
Okay.
And you know he's playing well with the Leafs. Like, but I still think he's the top scorer of the team.
He's a plus guy, though.
Well, he's literally an all-star.
Yeah, literally an all-star player.
Literally an all-star
over
player.
Sidney Crosby, apparently.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about John Scott.
And over Anze Kopitar.
Yeah, and weird.
And over Artemi Panarin.
Yeah, and.
But I feel like those
Subban,
guys really aren't complaining.
Subban played.
I feel like those guys aren't complaining that much, though.
The what?
I feel like those guys aren't really complaining that they didn't go to the All-Star game. I think Sidney Crosby's like, oh, finally, I can miss another one. Now this is my 8th in a row, you know, tally it down, Ruski Oceanic. I'm done with the All-Star game.
But his numbers weren't amazing before the All-Star break.
Well, the good news is that the All-Star game is terrible. I wish it would end. So for Sidney Crosby,
it
was pretty. I enjoyed it this year.
Really? I still didn't watch it.
John Scott, ran over Patrick Kane and went on a breakaway.
Which
was pretty.
That was funny.
Crazy.
And then they dropped the gloves and
John Scott had a 96 miles per hour. I think 96 miles per hour shot.
You'd hope for that for a guy who's 6 foot 1,000.
But that's a slap. That's a good slap. That's a huge cannon of a shot.
Yeah, like he actually could be a solid defenseman if he actually put his mind to the game. Because I've seen him play games where I want to say it was 2-on-1. I'm not totally sure. 2-on-1, and Colton Orr challenged him to a fight. He got out of the play and got in a fight with the guy.
Yeah.
And that was the very first game I actually covered between the Leafs and Sabres. And wow, what a weird moment. But I love Komarov, a guy that's really been impressing me. I'd really like to say a guy like Ben Scrivens or Mike Condon were impressing in Montreal.
Well, the last 2 games actually. Recently, Scrivens has been a pretty good
goalie.
goalie.
Well, Scrivens won both games.
Yeah. He's been pretty solid goalie. And I really liked him in Toronto. I thought him and Reimer made a really good combo together.
I saw him do something. It was the AHL finals when they were playing against Syracuse and
they got swept.
They're playing against Tokarski at the other end. And the one game I saw was a 1-0 win in overtime.
Was that where it went off the glass?
Went off the glass, bounces over into the crease while he's out to play the puck. I'll never forget that about Scrivens.
Yes.
But who else is impressing you?
I like Jeff Skinner, man. You've
always been a Jeff Skinner fan.
I love Jeff Skinner. I'm going to his house and saying, Jeff, I love you. And then he'll be like, who are you, man? But I'll still do it anyway. He's a former Young Nat.
I like Victor Rask too on Carolina.
His cousin's actually really good. He played in the NAHL last year. Do you remember his cousin? He had 49 points in 29 games.
NAHL, really?
Yeah, but his team averaged -13. He was a +10, and he had 25 points in like 32 games. He's playing in like Division II Sweden right now. But anybody who's out there, Victor Rask's cousin, his last name is like Emerton or something. Not Corey Emerton, the great Corey Emerton, former second-round pick.
Did you hear Riley Smith? Or sorry, with the Smith on Detroit? Brendan Smith and Jacob Kindle were playing together today.
Oh my God, one can't skate forward, one can't skate backwards.
Sorry to tell you that.
It's like the Whale and Stewart matchup back in grade 10.
And we haven't even talked about Dylan Larkin, but I feel like we could
He's
do a whole show
Dylan
on
Larkin.
Dylan Larkin.
He's playing really hot. But yeah, back to Jeff Skinner, man. This guy is good. Now, I always thought Jeff should have gone back to Kitchener just to get like so much ice time. He would have that year. Kitchener would have been contending because they would have had Landeskog, they would have had him, they would have had a couple of good European players. I thought they really would have contended in 2011. It's unfortunate that he went. He got 63 points, of course, his rookie season, but I think later on in the 2 years following, it kind of like hurt him just not getting that ice time because you think he's the World Juniors, the ice time he's getting in the regular season, the playoffs, a long run in the playoffs. Who knows? Maybe they would have beat. In 2011, the champions were same conference as Kitchener. Maybe would have had a long series against like a team like Windsor, Sarnia, or Owen Sound, and then gone to the Memorial Cup. So I really like that. But he's starting to play hot right now, and he's starting on that goal pace where he's like a third because he's a goal scorer. He knows how to score goals.
Will we have Eric Stahl on his team next year?
I don't know. That's hard to say because Jordan Stahl will be there, and I know they like playing with each other. And Jared Stahl, the great Jared Stahl, 48 points on the Thunder Bay Kings in 2000.
What's he doing these days? Like
everything. He's
farming,
doing
like
nice.
maybe I don't know.
But I don't know. Eric Stahl he's getting older. He's a minus player, so he really has to get out of. I think Cam Ward's not gonna stay.
Well, see, the one thing I love about Cam Ward is like he struggles a lot, but the one thing he does every year he makes one or two amazing highlight reel saves.
He's
so
a
he's like a top 5 save.
I love Cam Ward. He's a great goal in the playoffs. He's the guy you want. He's awesome.
We have a running joke where we kind of make fun of Cam Ward.
That
we know.
Red Deer Rebels.
Now that we're on the topic of Carolina Hurricanes, I am waiting till the day that they bring up my good friend Zach Boychuk to make the team.
One of the nicest guys
social
on Twitter,
media superstar with almost 300,000 followers.
Yeah, which is strange for an AHL guy.
And he has a great time. He live tweets The Bachelor and reality TV, and like he has a good time. He interacts with fans, which is what we talked about before when we talked about social media. He has a good time. I actually had him on Popternative right before the training camp started with him.
We're actually going to have to end that, unfortunately, right now. I love Boychuk. Anyways, we're going to quickly take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the QMJHL top prospects.
Yes.
Welcome back to the Hockey House. Now, I've decided I'm going to let you guys duke this one out.
Get out of here, Steve.
I won't leave, and there was nowhere to go. So
that's true. We are trapped here. There's no way out.
Yeah.
We stay here every week.
By the way, you're staying here for the next week, so no, go back home.
I'm sleeping right there.
Yeah, me too. So, anyways, let's talk a bit about some QMJHL top prospects. Now, Brendan, I know you love a lot of those guys. I know specifically you have a World Junior comment about them.
Oh, yeah. So, actually, Pete, looking at the World Junior team and how it sucked and how they had a bunch of dumpy dump as their team, they literally stunk. And the QMJHL players they did bring were not very good. Shabbat had a rough tournament, and I knew that. The under 18, he was rough. McDonald didn't play that good. He didn't play as bad as McDonald.
Yeah. And you mean Blackwood?
Yeah, I didn't play as bad as Blackwood. Did I say McDonald in mine?
Yeah, he didn't play as bad as himself.
Yes, and then Montalban I've never seen play that good. But so the QMJHL prospects who didn't get invited. What are your thoughts on like the Anthony Richards, the Nicholas Obey-Kubel, the Pierre-Luc Dubois, the Alex Doust from Shawinigan, basically all of Noranda, especially 7th round pick Francis Perron. There's Myers Phillips. There's the only guy who did get invited was Jeremy Lazon and was about the first one cut.
Yeah.
The other guy, I think it's John Christopher Bideau or Baudot.
You're going to name off the whole league at this point, basically.
But he's like plus 38. Obel Kuboe is like plus 44. Anthony Richard, 77 points in 50 games, plus 33. Pierre-Luc Dubois is like 17 years old.
A few guys on St. John's, too. Matthew Joseph had a good
he's doing really well. He is like, he's plus 29, and he has like 36, he has 56 points in 46 games, plus 29. He's doing incredible.
Yeah.
And of all those prospects, not only are you surprised that none of them got invited, especially a guy like Francis Perron, who is literally as hot as a firecracker. He was actually playing better than Beauvillier. He was playing a lot better than Krause.
You may not leave him time to actually.
Oh, yeah. So from those questions, were you surprised? Which were you most surprised who didn't make the team? And why do you think they didn't make the team?
So first of all, I think Francis Perron should have got invited. I think I'm a big fan of his play.
He has beard.
Yeah, I think he should have got invited. I think Pierre-Luc Dubois should have made that team.
Yeah, well,
I've said it many times. You see how explosive of a player he is.
Plus 21.
Unbelievable. Another player I think, a lot of people were like, oh, he came out of nowhere, had a good top prospects, but I watched him. He was good. Pascal Laberge is a very good player, and he's going to be. They're saying
-3 though. -3.
They're saying though he might be in the first round of the draft. Maybe he might get drafted maybe in the second or third, but he played really well in the top prospects, and that's someone I think that should have got invited. I think Julien Gauthier played pretty well
But
considering.
his teammates though, Kubel and Anthony Richard are 10 times better
Anthony
than
Richard
Gauthier.
Anthony Richard is very good. I remember seeing Anthony Richard in the Memorial Cup a couple years back in London.
Yes.
And I remember seeing him play against Edmonton Oil Kings in those two games that went. The one game went into triple overtime, which was amazing. And Anthony Richard was amazing. What a fast player, really speedy. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think Matthew Joseph. St. John Sea Dogs is someone that maybe should have been
he's really come out this year, especially. Last year was kind of a building year. From the year before, he got 10 points. Last year, he got 42 points. This year has really been a showcase for him. He's played very well. Why don't you think they made it? Like, what was Team Canada looking at that the geniuses over at Hockey Canada didn't pick these guys? What do you think the big factor among all of them is?
I don't know. Like, I don't know the motives. Like, I don't know if I can like comment on that because
Is it just because they're good players and Hockey Canada hates good players?
No, I don't. Well, Don Cherry would agree with that statement.
Yes,
you know for a fact.
I'll leave that question. Now, we were talking about Pascal Laberge of the Victoriaville Tigers.
Yeah.
48 points, 42 games, -3. Now, his teammate.
Of course he knows that.
His teammate is actually someone to look out for because him and the Ackery-Backers Titans, Antoine Morin. Those two.
And Maxime Comtois.
Yeah, Victoriaville Tigers.
Unbelievable players.
Do you
Top
think
5 in the 2017
Yeah,
draft.
that's what I was going to ask.
Easily. Antoine Morin is playing really well.
37 points, 33 games, -4.
Maxime Comtois, what about him?
50 points, 45 games, +10. But you're saying like
I've known this guy for years, and I still don't get over that.
We didn't even talk about Samuel Girard of the Shawinigan Cataracts. What are we doing?
Samuel Girard, 50.
Did he not get invited?
I don't know. He did not get invited.
No, yeah, he's 50 points in 50 games and it's +16.
Wow,
He's
really? He'll be there next year.
Yeah, but right now, I don't know if you would agree with me, but in the QMJHL, I think the prospect that's the most talked about for like the next draft is Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Yeah,
I think he's explosive. But these are guys.
Was it under 18s or was it Ivan Lenke he played really well?
Could have been Ivan Alinka.
Ivan Lenke.
Yeah, and there's someone. I'm just gonna drop someone's name here. There's a player on St. John's named Nathan Noel, and Nathan Noel
44 points in 44 games is +2.
Now this is a player who was undrafted last year, who is like no matter what gonna get drafted this year. But this is a guy who played U18s. This is a guy that played top prospects game, and he didn't get drafted next year. And he's playing big numbers.
Actually.
He's playing very well. And I think it will be a Connor Garland story. I think he's going to be the guy.
I'm going to have to cut you off, unfortunately. It was a great conversation.
Oh, jeez.
That's it. That's all we have That's all we have for today. Don't forget to visit thehockeyhost.net for all the latest hockey news around the world. And make sure to follow the Hockey Host on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Stephen Ellis.
I'm so sad that it's over. I'm Brendan Saunders.
I'm Peter Miliotis.
Thanks for watching.